Welcome to Korrio Administrator Training. In this video, we're going to cover the Admin Navigator toolbar, how to navigate around the system, and go over all the settings that you need to complete prior to opening your first registration. So I'm logged in here to my Kickers Football Club as an administrator, and because I'm logged in as administrator, I have this Admin Navigator toolbar. Only people that have admin rights in your club can see this Admin Navigator toolbar. Otherwise, they'll see whatever is below this line right here, and they'll see a direct link to their personal dashboard page, their personal avatar, a link to their personal messaging center, and their My Groups dropdown. In the My Groups dropdown, they'll see links to their kids' teams, any teams that they are rostered to as a coach or a manager, and any clubs or organizations that they're a part of. In your Admin Navigator, you'll see your club name up here in the very upper left corner. Your club dropdown is where all of your tools are located. So you'll see you have flyouts for club, for reports, payments, photos, addresses, and your club settings, a direct link to your communications tool, programs, schedule for your club, staff for your club, your teams and your team's pages, and if you're using the Korrio web hosting tools, you'll see this web link as well. In addition to the club dropdown, you'll also see some tools off to the right here. These tools change depending on what page you're on in the system. As an example, we'll click on our Programs page and go to our View Programs. You'll see when I go to the View Programs page that these tools now have changed to pertain to the page that I'm on. So now I have links to create a program, quick reports, Power Reports, and our Member Lookup tool. But you still have all of the same tools here in your drop-down menu. So one of the most convenient tools I would like to point out here is called the Member Lookup tool. This is where you can look up any adult or child that's part of your club in a quick, easy way. I'm going to look up a player that I'm looking for and click on the search. And you'll see that in the first column is where we get the parent name, then we get the child name and some quick information like address and phone number. You'll see there's a little eye icon next to the person's name. This is called the inspector icon. And if you click on the inspector icon, this gives you a little bit more information about that person. You can actually message them by clicking on the envelope. You can see dates of birth, school, grade, address, username that's in the system. So you can always tell people if they've forgotten their username. You can look it up quickly right here in the inspector. You can also see family relationships that they have in the system and also message the parent if you need to. You can see teams that they're associated with and programs that they've registered for. You can even see what date they registered, if they still have a balance due, and any of the answers to any of the custom fields in your programs that you put in. So this is a really great handy tool. The other tool I'd like to point out is club addresses. This is another thing that you can set up that makes life a little bit easier for your coaches and managers when they're creating events within their team pages. So by entering in addresses here at the top level of your club, this allows your coaches and managers to use these addresses when they create any of the events in their team pages. So if you have commonly used addresses for practices or games, you can enter those here and add them into your address library. You can enter in the venue name here and the address here. You want to make sure that this address matches exactly what is in Google Maps. Since all the events are actually tied directly to Google Maps, you want to make sure that you get people to the right place. So you always want to cross-check the address with what is showing in Google Maps to get people to the right place. By entering in this address here, then your coaches and managers will not have to re-enter the address in their event every time. All they have to do is start typing in the beginning of the address, and it will autofill and allow them to choose that address so they don't have to retype it every time. Okay, so now we're going to go into your club settings. This is another thing that you want to make sure you have set up from the very beginning. So I'm going to club settings and then club settings. Many of these things will be set up for you during the onboarding process, but I'd like to show these club settings in case you need to enter or change anything yourself. So in this general section, this is mostly set up for you during the onboarding process, so you probably won't have to change much there. Then we have settings for background checks and all of your payment options that you would like to enable for your club. You can set up your own check payments. You can have it enabled or not. Put in where the check payable to, where to mail the check to. You can even put in a message to your members who choose to pay by check. And then you can also add attachments here if you have certain guidelines or documents that you would like to attach. If your club is going to be using automatic payment plans, then you have to set that up within your Authorize.net account. Once you have that set up in your Authorize.net account, you can enable it in this end. Select yes or no here, and then make sure you're signed up on the Authorize.net end so that it ties together. You can also enable financial aid if you'd like to offer that at checkout. And the payment APIs. So the payment APIs is where you're going to enter all of your credit card information, all of your Authorize.net information. You'll be given API information that will be entered in right here into these cells. Once that information is entered, then you will have that link between your Authorize.net account and Korrio so that everything flows through for your credit card transactions. You also have access to roster printing and which rosters you would like to have access to. Receipt settings. This allows you to put in messages that will populate into any of your receipts that are received by your members after they register. You can also attach documents here if you need them to have some extra information. If you want to include convenience fees for anybody that might be paying by credit card or check, you do have the ability to enable that and put in what your fee would be if somebody chose to pay by check. Themes is a way to set up your club homepage. So this is where you can put in your own club avatar that will show up in the upper left-hand corner of your club page. You can set your background page color. So you can see you can change the colors here just like that. And you can also add a header image if you would like. The header image would appear right in this long skinny section just to the left of the Register Now button. You also have the ability to display team details to the public right here, so you can set that for yes or no. And last but not least, our sign-up options. This is where you can require certain information from people when they register. So you can have school required, yes or no, grade, health insurance information. You can set any of those to yes or no, and then those fields will be required during the registration process. Then click Save, and all of those club settings will be set for you. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to my Admin Navigator, and now we're going to go to Programs. And first I'm going to go to the View Programs page and just use this as a home base. So some of the first things that you need to do prior to opening your first registration are setting up your agreements, your adjustments, any coupon codes that you might want to create, and any custom questions that you might want to add in. So first we're going to go over agreements. So agreements are any types of forms or waivers that you need your club members to read and agree to during the registration process. Examples of agreements might be things like a medical consent form, a concussion information sheet, a medical release waiver, maybe you have a player code of conduct, or even a parent code of conduct. Those are all common agreements. So you can see here, these are agreements that I've already created and added into my agreements page. This is kind of a library format. I can see the title of my agreement, the version, the date it was created on, and the ability to view or edit that agreement. When I click on the View button, you can see the date it was created on and who the last person to change it was. Then you can click on the green button to edit that agreement if you need to. Once you edit it, it will save it as a new version, and you can always select that latest version to show up during registration. To create a new agreement, you click on the Create button. First, you enter your agreement name. Next option here is group members must agree to, and you have two options, the most recent version or any version. I usually suggest to keep it at the most recent version, then you know you're always seeing the last edited version. Under agreement type, we have 4 different types of agreements. The first type is the text type agreement, which I would say is the most commonly used type of agreement. The text type agreement simply is a body of text here that you would enter. As the person goes through registration, they will see that text in a pop-up box. They will read through it, agree to it. The system then timestamps that agreement and adds it into that person's profile page. So it's what is considered an online agreement. For a text type agreement, you would just enter in your text right into this text box here. You can either type directly into the box or you can copy paste into the box. We do have a paste from Word feature right here that allows you to paste into this box right here and then insert it. That helps to hold some of the formatting from Word into your agreement. Once you have it pasted in, you can always edit it right here in this box as well. You'll see you have the standard text editing features right here in this toolbar. I always suggest to preview the agreement before you save it so you make sure it looks exactly the way you want it to look prior to saving. And then go ahead and save, and that agreement will then be entered into your library of usable agreements. The next type of agreement is what's called a URL type agreement. So this would be used if you need to send people to another site to read something. And you would simply just enter in the URL for that site that you want to direct people to. And during registration, they will see that URL. They'll be prompted to click on that link and read what is ever on the other end. That URL also gets timestamped and posted in their profile page as well for future reference. The next type is called an offline type of agreement. I would say this is definitely another popular option. So an offline type agreement is any type of agreement that you need your members to actually print out and physically sign and return to you. A common use for this is a medical release form. So same idea as a text type agreement. You enter in your text right here, either by typing directly into the box or by copy and pasting. And the difference is that during registration, they'll be prompted to click on this. It will actually attach to their registration as a PDF. And in addition to that, it also timestamps into their profile page, and they always have access to it there as well. You can even enter in instructions for what you would like to do with that. You want your members to do with that agreement once they've printed it. For instance, please bring to your practice and hand to your coach, or send to a specific address. If you're using Korrio's integrated background check with backgroundchecks.com, then we also have this pre-formatted background check agreement that you can add into any of your programs that you're going to have volunteers registering for and getting those background checks run. Once you have your appropriate agreements in your agreements library, then they're ready for you to add into any of your programs. Next, we're going to go over adjustments. So adjustments are any types of credits or fees that you need to tack on to your base registration costs for any of your programs. Commonly used adjustments are early registration discount, a sibling discount, maybe you have a late fee after a certain date, or even the ability for people to make a donation during the registration process. Those would all be examples of adjustments. You'll see you can edit or delete your adjustment anytime. And then to create a new adjustment, you click on the Create button. Put in your title of your adjustment here. If you need a description, you can enter that here as well. Your amount. Then we also have the option here for users to change the amount, yes or no. And under type of adjustment, you can either have it as a fee or a credit. So a fee would be tacking money on to the base registration cost, and a credit would be subtracting money from their base registration cost. So something like a sibling discount would be a credit, and then obviously something like a late fee you would have as a fee. If you're creating a sibling discount, we have a specific box just for the sibling discount right here called Multi-Sibling Active. This is where you would put in at which sibling do you want this discount to kick in at. So for instance, if you want the sibling discount to kick in at the second child, you would put the number 2 there. If you don't want it to kick in until the third child, then you'd put the number 3 there. The next box here is the start date. This is when you are going to enter when you want this adjustment to start working and be active and available in your programs. So you choose the appropriate date. You can even be very specific and put in a start time. It's not necessary. It will default to midnight of this date and kick in at that date that you enter as the start date. Then your end date. So this date would be used for when you want this adjustment to stop working. So the minute this date passes, this adjustment will no longer apply. It will no longer work in any of your programs. Same thing, we have an end time here if you want to get really specific, but it's not necessary that you put it in. It will default to midnight of that date. Okay, next is adjustment is optional or required. If you leave it as optional, that means your registrants will have a choice if they would like to choose that adjustment or not. If you make it required, then that adjustment will automatically tack on to their registration. They do not have to do anything. So something like a sibling discount, you can have it as required. It will automatically subtract from their base registration cost. Last on this adjustment page is the ability to make an adjustment admin only, yes or no. What that means is if you have an adjustment that you would like only you to be able to use, such as maybe a scholarship adjustment, something like that, you can set this to yes, and that way you're the only one that can use that adjustment. An example of a reason you might want to have an admin-only adjustment is during the admin entered registration process. If you would like to apply a scholarship during the registration process for somebody, you can create an adjustment that is set to admin only. You can call it admin only adjustment. You can put in maybe just like $1. User can change amount. You would set that to yes so that you can change the amount that you're awarding to different people. You can leave it as a credit. You can leave the multi-sibling part blank and then have your start and end dates entered appropriately. You can make it optional, so you can choose when you're registering for someone if you would like to use it or not, and then set it to admin only. Then you can go ahead and save changes. That adjustment will then be available for you to add into any one of your programs if you would like to have that available to apply scholarships for people while you're registering for them. Any adjustment that is set to admin only means that no one else will be able to see it. Only people with admin rights will be able to see it during the admin entered registration process. Okay, so as soon as you have all your settings configured in your adjustment, go ahead and save changes. It will then be added into your library of adjustments for you then to use within any of your programs. Okay, the last thing we want to set up prior to creating our first program is coupon codes. So coupon codes give you the ability to create special codes that you can give out for certain credits that you would like people to use during the registration process. Another example of a coupon code might be a scholarship. So if you've awarded someone a scholarship, you can give them that special code. They can then enter that while they're registering. That discount will then apply to their registration cost and subtract that amount. So just like adjustments and agreements, you'll see we have our coupon code library here. You can see the name of the coupon code, a description if you've put one in, and the start and end date that that coupon code is valid for. You also have the ability to edit or delete it anytime, and then your create button is here at the top. This is where you're going to put what the actual code is in this space. If you would like to put in a description for your own use, you can put that in right here. Your credit amount would go here, and your start and end dates for when this coupon code is valid would go here. Again, just like adjustments, you can put in a start time or an end time if you would like to get really specific. Again, it's not necessary that you put a start and end time in there. It will autosave with midnight of the date that you entered. Go ahead and save changes, and that coupon code will then be added into your library for you then to use in any of your programs. You also have the ability to create custom fields. A definition of a custom field would be any questions that you would like to ask during registration above and beyond the questions that are already the default questions, like name, address, phone number, email address, school, grade. So allows you to create questions like uniform size, last year's team are some common questions, maybe even t-shirt size if you're collecting sizes. Those are all commonly used questions. So again, same kind of format here as our others as far as the library format. You can see the name of your question, how it would appear for your users, what type of question, if it's visible for them or required, and the ability to edit or delete those questions anytime from your library. So here at the top is where you're going to create your custom question. The name is what you're going to have as your kind of column header, so you can name it something short. so that it doesn't take up a whole lot of room when you're running the report to see the results of these answers. Next is type. So the type of custom question, this determines what area they get to type into. So a text box gives them a box just about this size to type a short free-form answer in. A text area box gives them a box about this size if they need to type in a longer answer. Radio buttons allows you to create your own radio buttons so they can choose from specific answers that you enter. And then here's a yes/no question. So they'll just see a button for yes and a button for no. The label is what your question will, how it will appear for them while they're going through registration. The description, if you have a longer-winded description, you can enter that information here and it will allow them to read that information as an add-on to your question here. Visibility, so typically you're going to keep this visible so your registrants will see the question during registration. We do have an option to make a hidden question, which would just be for your use on the back end when you run reports on pulling this data. So that would be used for things like if you want to put in penny numbers or things like that after people have already registered. Then you also have the ability to make this question either required or not, so that they would be prompted to put in an answer, or you could also have an optional question as well. So if you leave it as no, they can bypass that question without necessarily answering it. If you make it required, then that would mean they would have to put something in that box before they could continue through registration. So I'm just going to go back to radio buttons and show you how that works. So you would leave it as visible. Then down at the bottom here, you will see the ability to create your new radio options. So as an example, I'll give the example of t-shirt size. So t-shirt size would be your name of your custom field, and then your label can be a little longer. Such as, what t-shirt size will your child be in the fall? You can put another description in if you would like, and then down here is where you're going to create your radio options. So here you can say youth small, and you can type it out. Same thing here, we'll put in YM for youth medium. And you can continue to create your radio options. Then those will appear with little radio buttons next to them for them to choose during registration, and then you can report off of those answers. Once you've gone through and created your question, go ahead and save changes, and that question will again be added to your library of custom questions for you to add into any of your programs. That brings us to creating your first program. So I'm going to go to Programs and click on Create Program. We're going to get our form up here to create our first program. And you'll see it's pretty self-explanatory here. Put in the title of your program. We always recommend that when you name your programs that you put in as much information as possible into the title. This makes it a lot easier down the road when you're reporting and you're looking up the programs that you want to report on. So we always recommend that you put in maybe the season, like fall 2013 season registration. Or if it's for a specific age group or gender, you can denote that in the naming of your program. Next would be a price. So you simply enter the price right here into this box. You can group your programs together by price. So if you have multiple age groups that might be the same price, you can create one program to go for all of those age groups. Reasons that you'd want to separate out programs would be by price or registration time, if they are opening at different times. Those are the two major reasons for creating separate programs. You may put in a description of your program if you wish. Anything that you type into this box right here will show as a little flyout just like this, right next to your program name for people to hover over and read. If you have a longer page that you would like to reference and direct people to that describes even more information about that program, you can direct people to a whole nother page. So you would just simply enter in the URL for that page right here in the More Info URL for that program. Then under Type of Program, you have 4 different choices: recreational, tryout, clinic, or other individual program. The main thing that you want to remember when selecting your type of program is that if you're going to be forming teams out of the people that register for this program, then you want to make sure that you pick either recreational or tryout based. Any program that is the type of recreational tryout will then be usable in the Team Builder program for you to use and bulk roster kids from that program to their appropriate teams. If you're not going to be rostering kids to teams from this program, then you can choose either clinic or other individual program. Doesn't matter, either one of those. So if they have that type of clinic or other individual program, they're not going to show up in your Team Builder for you to roster from. Next is notify administrators upon sign up. This allows you to choose from any of the administrators in your club to receive notifications anytime somebody registers for this program. So you can select who you would like to be notified, and they will receive a Korrio message sent to them through the system that will appear both in their Korrio inbox and in their email that says who registered, what program they registered for, and the date. And you can go in and turn that off or on anytime during the registration process. Next is your program dates. So you have 3 sets of dates here that you need to choose. The first set of dates here is your active start and your active end date. This is when your program is going to show up on your program's page for people to view. Doesn't necessarily mean it's open for registration yet, but it is there, viewable on your program's page for people to see. Next set of dates is the open and close registration date. This is when people can actually sign up for this program and register. Typically, your registration dates can either match your active start and end dates, or you want to make sure that your open and close registration dates fall somewhere in between your active start and active end dates. Obviously, your program does have to be active for people to be able to register for it. So again, just make sure that your dates for active start and end and open and close registration either match, or that your open and close registration fall within your active start and end dates. Then the last set of dates is your program start and program end date. So this is when the program is actually happening. So if it's a camp or a clinic, you would put in the dates of your camp or clinic here. If it is a season registration, then you would put in your dates of your season into these boxes. You also see that you can be very specific and put in times here as well if you would like. Not necessary if you want to just put the dates in. It will default to midnight of whatever dates you put in. Next section is eligibility. So this is pretty important. This is what determines who is age and gender eligible to sign up for your program. So here you would denote male, female, or co-ed. Then under age eligibility, you have a few different options. The option of all, sport age by season. The sport age by season is based off the U.S. youth soccer dates that go from August 1st to July 31st, and then by year. So here we are going into the new 2013-14 season. You also will see there's the past year's season, which you can also use if you need to. And then your sport age would go into this box, such as U12. If you want to open this registration to a range of sport ages, you can also choose sport age range by season. So you'd pick your season dates here, and then pick your sport age range. For instance, U10 to U12. The other option you have here is a sport age with a user-defined cutoff date. So this one, you are able to create your own cutoff date and then your own sport age. So people would have to be U12 by this date. Same thing, you can do sport age range with a user-defined cutoff date and put in your range of dates here. Next option is a simple age range where you have a minimum age to a maximum age. A birth date range where you can put an oldest birth date to a youngest birth date, and everyone in between would be able to register for this program. And then you also have the option to use grade or grade range as an option. And you can choose your grade range here as well. So a lot of different options for you to choose from. Okay, the next box down is adult only program. So typically, if you're registering or you have youth programs, you're going to leave this as no. That would mean that the system is expecting an adult to be registering a child for a program. So a parent or a guardian would be registering a minor for a program. So that means anyone under the age of 18 is considered a minor and needs to be registered by an adult. If you have a program that is for adults, like a coach-manager registration, for instance, or even a program for kids that are 18, maybe you have a U19 team and some of them are going to be 18 already, then you need to create a program that is set to adult-only program yes. Once somebody turns 18, they're considered an adult, and they do need to technically register themselves and agree to their own agreements. So any program that you have set to adult only, that will allow that adult to register themselves for that program. So they will be able to choose themselves, agree to their own agreements, and register. If you're using our background check, then you can select yes here, and this will add in the added functionality of creating that background check through backgroundchecks.com and feeding that information back into the system through this registration. And then ask about returning to a team. You can also ask during registration if you would like to return to last year's team. If you select yes, then that question will be added in, and you can use this to actually over time auto roster kids to their previous year's teams so that you don't have to search back through what teams they were on before. So this is very handy for your next season after you roll over teams from a previous season. Next section is restrictions. This allows you to put a maximum head count on a particular program. So if you could only allow 50 people in the camp, you can put a maximum head count of 50. You can also allow a wait list if you would like. So once that gets to the capacity, then you can also allow people to get on a wait list. It will show those people that they are getting on a wait list. It will not charge them at that time, but simply put them on a wait list section of the attendees list. This next section is agreements. So this is where you're drawing from that agreements library and choosing which agreements you would like to add into this program for people to read and agree to during this registration. We've gone ahead and added in the concussion waiver for you into the agreement section, so you actually don't have to add that in. We have added that in for you if you would like to use it. And then you'll see under your club name all the agreements from your agreement library that you can choose from. You also have the ability to include all agreements by checking that box or unchecking it and selecting none. Next section is adjustments. This is drawing from your adjustments library that you created earlier and allows you to add in the particular adjustments that you would like into your program. Same thing with custom fields. So this is drawing from that custom field library, so you can add in any of those questions that you created. It'll show you here your list of custom questions, and all you have to do is add them in by selecting the plus on this side. The other way you can do it is just by dragging and dropping, or dropping the other way. Next section is payment plans and coupon codes. So if your club is utilizing the payment plans, then you have the ability to put in your automatic payment plan options here. Again, you have to have this set up in Authorize.net in order to use it first. And this is where you can put in your initial payment, your down payment, how many months you want those payments to be stretched over, and if you have a service fee, you can add that service fee in here too. There's also an option for what we call a minimum payment, which is basically a kind of manual payment plan. This allows you to put in a down payment. They would be required to pay that down payment during registration, and then you would have a balance remaining in this section here, and that balance that's remaining would then be up to them to pay off from their profile page with a credit card or by sending your club a check. The next option here is to add in your coupon codes. So if you choose yes to add in coupon codes to your program, you'll see this box appear, and just like the custom questions, you can add in those particular coupon codes to this program. So when they get to the end of the registration, if they type in scholarship, they'll get that credit or camp coupon code. Last section is messaging. This allows you to put in your own program-specific welcome message. They will see this in two different places. It will show on their last page of registration, and in addition to that, it will also show in their emailed receipt that they will receive after they finish registering. You can also attach files here. Same thing, they'll see the ability to open that file when they are on their last page of registration, and also they'll see that in their emailed receipt. So if you have additional instructions for them that you'd like to add in, you can attach those files here and add in your own program welcome message. Okay, so as soon as you click Save, that program will then be added into your library here of programs, and you'll see it appear in your Programs page. You'll see at the top here you have the ability to filter your programs if you'd like to filter them by gender or age and just display certain ones that you're looking for. You'll also see under Season that you have your active programs. You can see your active program dates here, and then you also have the ability to look up historic programs that have passed their active end date. So you always have the ability to look up old programs that way. To look up old programs, you would put in your season start and end dates here for that program, and you can search for them by date. If you have programs that you have set for a future active date, then you will see an additional area here called pending programs. And that means you've created that program, but it has not yet reached its active start date for it to appear on your active programs. So you can create programs that have future active dates and be able to access them through this drop-down option here. So we're going to go back to our active programs here, and you can see that when I hover over any of these program names, that these are actually active links. Once you create that program, it's actually created its own page for itself. I'll show you what that looks like in just a moment. In addition to that, you as the administrator can see the count, so you can see how many people have registered to your program so far. You'll also see the gender that it's set to, the age eligibility that it's set to, and the price. If it's both active and open for registration, you'll see the Register Now button next to the program name here. If it is active but the open registration dates have not come yet, then it'll say registration opens on, and it'll show the date that that registration will open on. And if the registration close date has already passed but it's still active, it'll say registration has closed, and it will not allow people to register for that particular program. You as the administrator will also see this little yellow pencil. This is the edit button, so you can go back into your program settings and edit any of those settings anytime. So here, when you open it back up, if you need to edit something like program name or a date, you can do that. We highly recommend that you do not change the program price after you have already opened registration. And you do have the ability to change dates though, or eligibility if you made a mistake, so you can change that anytime. Okay, and then down here at the bottom is where you're going to resave or cancel. Okay, so now we're going to go into a program page and show you what that looks like. I'm going to click on the program name, and this will open up our program page. You'll see we have our own menu specifically for this program right on the left-hand side of this program page. You can enter in your own schedule for this particular program if you would like, any photos that you would like to enter to the program page, and most importantly, the attendees list. So if you click on attendees, you'll see these are all our kids that have already registered for this program. I can see that these are actually active links directly to their profile pages. I can see the inspector icon for that specific person. So I can open that up and I can see more details about that person. You can also see information here on the right to hide show columns. So if I want to see different information here and I want to see answers that they answered to my custom questions, I can actually change that and show those columns for those custom questions. You as the administrator also have the ability to edit the answers. So if somebody emails you and says they'd like to change their uniform size or their team preference comments or something like that, you as the administrator have the ability to do that. You can enter in preferences there by clicking anywhere outside of the box that will auto-save. And you can change any of those answers that you might need to change. At the top here, you'll also see you have the ability to add people directly to your attendees list right here, or remove people from your attendees list. These are the same functions that you'll actually see on a team roster page as well. So if you need to manually add one of your players to another program, you can do that using this method here. This is one way to do it. You would search for them in the system, so they would already have to have an account within your club for you to find them. So you would simply type in their name, click search, and they will appear in this area down here. Or if you want to add them from another program, you can also find them by clicking on another program name and adding them to the program just like this. So what this does is it not only adds them to the attendees list of the program, but it also creates a transaction for the price of this program and adds it into your payments page and into the profile page of the user so that they can go in and pay. The other option you have is to remove players. So if you have a player that you need to take off the attendees list, you can select the box on the left of the name, click the minus symbol, and that person will then be removed from that program attendees list. This action does not affect the transaction. That is a separate thing that you would have to deal with, especially since if they've already paid with a credit card, you have to deal with that with a refund if you need to from the payments page. But this does allow you to remove them from the attendees list if needed. The other thing that you can do is move someone from a wait list onto the program attendees list. So I'll use this one as an option here. You'll see if I click on the type that you have the option to move them from waitlist to player. So I'm just moving somebody onto the waitlist. And let's say you have space that is now opened up in your program. You can then select the eye icon, message the parent, make sure they still want to be part of this program. As soon as you hear back, you can then move them by simply clicking on the word waitlist, selecting player. It auto saves and moves that person now onto the attendees list. As soon as you move them onto that attendees list, then again that transaction is then created and added into their profile page, so then that parent can go in and pay with a credit card from their profile page or send you a check if your club accepts checks. You also have the ability to run reports right from your program page. So if you just want to run reports on this specific group of people, you can do that right here in reports in your program page. We also have these same exact reports available for you in the admin navigator, but these reports encompass your whole club. So two places to run reports, either from your program page, which would encompass just those registrants of that particular program, or you can run reports from the top level that would encompass all of your club members. Which brings us to reports. So I'm going to click on Quick Reports from my admin navigator. And usually one of the first reports you'll run is the Find Attendees by Program report. So you can see we've kind of separated them out into different sections here. The Find Attendees by Program allows you to search by program. You'll see you get a drop-down list of all your programs here. I'm going to select my Recreational Boys program. You can search by all programs if you wish. Or you can also select a specific time frame that you'd like to see. So you can put in registration dates between. If you don't put any dates in there, it will pull all your registrants up to that date. You'll see you have your visible columns here. Registration date, name, phone number, email, and date of birth. Those are our default columns. If you want to change or rearrange those for any reason, click on Customize Your Columns. These are all draggable and droppable, so you can put them in whatever order you want. If there's a column that you don't need, you can just drag it off to the right and it will disappear out of your visible columns. You also see here that you have many choices that you can add into your visible columns list, and we've separated them out into 3 different tabs: Standard, Group, and Other. So if you want to add in maybe a mobile phone number, you can add that in here. We can look for parent phone, parent mobile phone, add that in. If we wanted to add in parent email address, we can add that in. If you wanted to add in what these people answered for their custom questions, you can click on the Other tab, and we have one called Custom Fields right here, which will actually separate out all the answers to your different custom questions in the report. Then once you have your columns the way you want them, click Run Report, and you will see your report data here below. We've got registration date, name, email address, date of birth, phone number, email. You also see that these are actually active links directly to these people's pages, so you can right-click and go to that person's profile if you need to. You also see here at the top of your report that there's a few things you can do with this data. You can export it to CSV, which is a spreadsheet file format if you need to manipulate it further. You can save or print it to a PDF, and you can also email from this report. This is one way to communicate. We also have a whole another communication tool that you can use as well. Which brings me to our communication tool. So from our Admin Navigator here, I'm going to click on Communications. And this is a quick, easy way to reach out to specific groups within your club. So we have a couple of different choices here. You can search by player type, teams list, or programs list. If you go by player type, you can filter by gender. You can filter by age. So if you wanted to look for specific sport age, you can do that. And date range, you can look for pending teams, active teams, or even historic teams as well. Down below, you can select to email the players' parents only, or also email organizational staff. Then you go ahead and click Compose Email, and you can compose that message to that group of people. The other option that you have is a teams list. So once you've rostered people to teams, you can choose to reach out to a specific group of teams or all your teams. Under member type, you can select either just parents or players, or if you want to select all, you can email organization staff, parents, players, coaches, and managers. Then you can select between any group of teams or specific teams that you need to. If you want to select all of your teams, go ahead and select all, or you can also go by gender, age eligibility, and active teams, pending teams, or historic teams. It'll show you your appropriate teams. You can select the ones you want and compose email. The next option you have is a programs list. This works just like the teams list. So if you wanted to email a specific group of programs, same options here. You can select all, organization staff, attendees, parents of attendees, and personnel of programs. And then here you have the same options. You can select all, different ages, and different programs. So you can select from any active programs or historic programs, or if you have any actually pending wouldn't show since nobody would be registered to those yet. At the top here, you also have a filter bar, so if you wanted to just filter on your certain words, you can filter on any text you want to using this filter bar. Select your teams or select all using this and compose email. When you're composing your email, it will auto-fill with your information since you're the person that's logged in, but that is editable. You can change that and put in a from name and a different email address if you would like. In the to line, it'll show you all of the people that it's going to. If you wanted to CC additional recipients, you can CC additional recipients here. Put in your subject line. You can attach files if you need to attach additional files here. You can even insert images like club logos and then compose your message right here in this box. You'll see you have all of the standard text editing features here. A couple of nice things that I'll point out is this insert you can paste from Word, insert Word documents right here that helps to hold some of the formatting, or of course type directly into the box. You can also create links directly into your message as well. So as an example, we can type in register now for fall rec soccer. And we can highlight any portion of text, and once we highlight that text, you'll see this link button appear. If you click on that link button, you'll be able to put in your own URL right here, or what's really nice is we've provided all the URLs for you to all of your programs and teams right here in this tab. So you can go down here, go to your specific program, click on the program name that you want to link to, click insert, and that will direct people directly to that program page for them to register. You can send yourself a test email if you would like to see it before you send it out to the masses. And then as soon as you're ready to send, click send email, and it will send out to all of those recipients on your email list. Thank you for using Korrio. One for all for sports.